What is going on, guys? I'm going to show you how to down, kill, or driver assist one enemy while seated in a Kolibri Synchropter in Firestorm. This, of course, is one of the optional missions to complete for this week's Tides of War challenge called Buckle Down. So you don't have to complete it to unlock this week's reward, but for those who still want to complete it for the XP or just want to splatter people for fun, hopefully this video helps you out. Now, the challenge says down, kill, or driver assist, because this will work if you're in squad or duo game mode, whether you're the one doing the splattering or if you're just riding along. But all my tips are going to be for single mode, as I think it's actually easier to do this rather than having a full squad of enemy players firing at you, which will normally bring your helicopter down pretty fast. Plus, later down this video, you'll see some of the easy opportunities solo mode brings when trying to battle players in your helicopter. But to get things started, first thing you want to know is the helicopter locations. You can check out the annotations above at the end of this video that gives you all the locations for the helicopters. This will not only help you get a helicopter at the start of the round, but also help you locate other ones on the map when your fuel starts to get low with the helicopter you're in. You could just fly back over to another one of these locations and look to see if a helicopter is there, because if you run out of fuel with your helicopter, clearly you won't be able to complete this mission. There are sometimes fuel next to these helicopter spawn locations, but if there's one spot that's pretty consistent for me, at least when I say consistent I mean like 75% of the time, when I land next to this military base, which is right up the mountain next to Oldenburg, I will find a fuel canister right next to the helicopter to pick up. Even if you don't grab the helicopter here and choose another location, it won't hurt if you're flying by to still check if there's fuel here, because at times I have found fuel still here even when the helicopter didn't spawn in this location. That is how consistent the fuel has been in this location, at least from my perspective. And do take everything with a grain of salt because of the RNG aspect of Firestorm. If you choose another location, or if the circle on the map doesn't allow you to reach this location, do look around the helicopter spawn you choose and see if there's a fuel canister close by. But like I said, it's for some odd reason at this location next to Oldenburg where I find fuel next to this helicopter. I think the only other place I find fuel pretty consistently is actually in the bunkers, so if you feel like risking it and flying over to one of these bunkers when your fuel is low, that is an option as well. So when it comes to actually splattering players with a helicopter, I have two strategies. The first is right when I drop in, I go straight for the helicopter and I'm looking around close by as I'm dropping in, hoping for a player who has chosen to land out somewhere in the open so I can go straight for him and try to run him over. These are the best opportunities because it's right at the start of the game and the player doesn't have any weapons and there's literally nothing they can do but quickly run inside a house or something. So if you want to try to land in an area that has a lot of players parachuting at and you want to grab the helicopter and be looking around and seeing who is landing out in the open, then that's something that you can do. You can also briefly wait by the helicopter or in the helicopter if there's a bunch of players that just went into buildings, because sometimes there will be a player or two who drops behind everyone else and realizes there are no weapons to pick up, so you'll see them usually being the first ones to want to leave the location and go find a gun, and that's usually the perfect time for you to go and attack. The second strategy is to land by a helicopter, but instead of going in it immediately, you want to get looted up first, as if you don't find anyone off the bat with the first strategy, all you're going to end up doing is burning fuel and making yourself extremely vulnerable to enemy fire, which can kill you rather easily even if the enemy player has a shotgun. As long as you're close by trying to run them over, it makes it very easy for them to put shots on you, and if you don't have at least level 1 armor or some bandages to fly away really quick when your health is low and then re-heal yourself so you can re-engage back later, they will eventually pick you apart. I also prefer this second strat more because it saves a little bit of my helicopter fuel time and gets me armored up a bit for the opportunities that follow once the first circle starts to close in. If you fly around the edges of the circle as it's collapsing, you are bound to find someone running, and even though you got to be careful now engaging that player because they are probably looted up, they're usually more concerned with not being caught in the fiery circle than dealing with your helicopter they hear hovering above. This makes it a perfect opportunity to swoop down and land onto them. When it comes to actually splattering them with my helicopter, I found the best opportunities is when the ground is completely flat, so you want to avoid the incline slant of mountains and definitely buildings as well. You also want to have some built up momentum, as you want to try to have all that momentum come in as you're landing on top of them to crush them. I usually try to hit them with this part of the body of the helicopter. I see a lot of people trying to hit players with the nose as they swoop in, but for some reason this has never killed me, nor have I killed any player trying to do this. Instead, you want to try to build some momentum up and just drop down, not completely on top of them, but in an angle towards them. So it's somewhere between dropping down straight above and swooping in, so something like a 60-degree angle. If you don't get a kill right away, you can try moving the helicopter quickly with that built-up momentum you have and try to splatter the player whichever direction they move in. But if that doesn't work, I suggest pulling back up into the air and trying it again. Because if your helicopter begins to slow down and you're at that ground level, you're very easily able to get shot from the player, even if they have just a shotgun. If you hear players battling one another, that's also another great way to easily get a kill, because you'll have the winner of the battle usually injured, which will take less damage to finish them off. They may also try to quickly loot the player they just took out, giving you an easy target to splatter them. Because your helicopter is so loud and noticeable, you'll attract a lot of attention, so you may even be battling another player and start noticing another enemy player trying to push up and trying to shoot you as well. So the best thing to do is pull back up into the air and let them notice each other, and after they battle each other for a little bit, come crashing back in and try to finish the winner of that battle off. Besides the obvious AA guns, tanks, and Panzerfaust, you want to watch out for players with machine guns, as those will do heavy damage on your helicopter when you're flying. It also seems to be really difficult hitting players who are just prone. So difficult I actually wonder if it's even possible to splatter someone who is prone on the ground. So ideally you want to find a player that is running out in the open. Why I like my second strat more, because you can catch players who are out in the open trying to escape the flames. But hopefully that helps you guys out. I've gotten up to 3 helicopter kills in one game, using primarily my second strat, but I've also gotten a few quick kills here right off the bat by just grabbing a helicopter at the very start of the game and going off and splattering someone who's running out in the open. So it's all part of that risk reward, because if you do die, we all know we have to be waiting another hour till the next game of Firestorm starts. But hopefully that helps you guys out. If you guys have any other tips that would help other players out in splattering players and completing this mission, feel free to let me know in the comments below. But that is it for you guys today. Again, I always appreciate you guys being here. I am Livin', and I'll catch you guys again later.